Hey Will, how are you?
Hey mate, I'm good. How are you?
Really good, really good.
That's fantastic.
So, speaking finance, the Facebook ads have gone pretty well.
They have. That is certainly a way to put it. I mean, we'll get into the results in a second, but I think more so than that, there are a lot of people out there, I assume, and that I've heard of and spoken to myself who are either unhappy with their current agency or aren't sure of the results that you can get with Facebook.
Hmm.
And I think that we wanted to jump on here specifically to talk about why Facebook would be good for a business, how it could be good for a business, and just the results that it can create when working
Yep.
with the right people or putting in the right strategies and these sorts of things. So results are fantastic, but the fact that there's lots of different ways to get there is what's more important in my eyes as well. So yeah, keen to go through everything today.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I think it's that desire to not see money wasted. Like fuck, when I saw the results come up with speaking finance, I was like, that doesn't sound right. And it was just, I mean, the guys with the last agency were cool. Like they were nice. They're really nice to in handing over the information and stuff. But I don't know, there was just no love in it, and the numbers weren't really stacking up. And I mean, I guess we showed that pretty quickly that if you put some love and attention and effort into it, you can really improve the CPR, CPA on or every factor. Um,
Yeah,
so
you're not wrong, and I think um, even just seeing, like we were speaking about before, attention to detail in an account is something that um, I would hope to see in everyone's account. But realistically, it's just not what happens when you're working with either an agency that's spread too thin, or perhaps you just don't know what you're looking for if you're running ads yourself. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with. They don't even know where they can be doing better. And
yep,
I guess a video like this will be able to help them see sort of how we can structure things or how to build strategies that work in 2024, 2025 as well, based on what's current and what we like to present or what we like to build here as well.
yep, absolutely. Yeah, when I first spoke to Steve, he wanted, I think that they were sitting around somewhere between 100 $110 a lead, and he wanted it in our first meeting. He said he wanted it under 70. And I was kind of looking at it going, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's attainable. And, when we did the research, we're like, definitely.
Mm.
And I think your thoughts were 50 to $60. That was the first, like, a reasonable target that we were aiming for. So what's that, like half? The other factor was that we thought when we were accessing the account, um, it turned out that no one had full access to the account. Even the previous agency didn't have full access to the account. We don't know who set the account up. And so we couldn't even access everything. So we had to start with the old account and then build a new account. And so there was all that on top of on.
It was a weird process, and I have to admit it's probably the first time that I've had to speak to another agency to say, "Hey, sorry, like we're working with your client now. Like, give us the account, please." But really lucky that they were very cool with it as well. So um, I think that that's part of it. Part of this whole process was one, figuring out how we can get either access to their account or build them a new account that doesn't start them from square one,
Mhm.
or somehow get access to the current account without moving it around. So I think where we ended up was probably the best way to do it, which was a slow transition from the account that the original agency had set up into this new account that we had set up. So it's not this switch that you turn on and off from a very well seasoned account, lots of money being spent through the account to get good results and these sorts of things, into a brand new account where we could be running the exact same thing, but because the account has no data, the account is not going to perform as well. And so that slow transition between the two was something that we really focused on, because there's nothing worse than jumping on either with a new agency or working with an ad account that has either been utilized through a different business or something like that, and just seeing really bad results compared to what you're used to. And so that was the first order of business when we took over the account was, okay, how are we going to make this a smooth transition without one, spending too much money, two, losing the data that we have currently, and then also while building it into something that both the client can own, that we have access to, that they can see the results of, because obviously you want as much transparency as possible with the client, so that they can see if things aren't going right, they know why. And also it's a bit of accountability on the agency side to say, hey, you have direct access into the account. You will see exactly what we're doing in terms of the work that we're doing in the account. And you can be the judge of whether it was worth a change, or you want to continue to work with us, or you're happy with the results that you see. Just so that we don't fluff, because I'm sure a lot of people know, there are agencies out there who could fluff numbers, who do not want to, who aren't transparent with the way that they operate. And that's something that we've been really, really cautious of here, I think, is just making sure that people are fully aware of exactly what's going on in their account, how much they're spending, etc. And I think people really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's I've got here on the screen, I hope that's showing up there. Some of the we've got this image of like a snapshot from where it started off when we inherited the account.
But yeah, they spent $1,500 to only get 13 leads, which does equal that $119.70 mark for leads. Honestly, it's to be fair, the industry that this client is working in, the finance industry, it can be a tough industry on Facebook, especially in B2B markets, and that's something that we were cautious of. Like that $70 lead, I would also be happy to get it under $70. And that's where I was thinking it was going to be, like, with the right content in place, with the right strategy in place, these sorts of things. But $120 is the sign of a neglected account. Nothing done to get this lower. They weren't changing creative. They weren't changing the structure, the strategy. It was very much between July and when we took over the account in, say, October. There was actually zero difference in the structure. So there was nothing done to save this from blowing out the way that it did. The main things that you need to be, if you're a business running ads, if it's your own business, it's your own ad account, or if you're running through an agency, you need to make sure that you have access to the ad account, because when you decide to part with that agency, you will lose all the data that you have created over that period of time. It's a way that they keep you locked in. You don't want to lose the tens of thousands of dollars spent on an ad account worth of data. Say, for example, you've gotten 1,000 leads through an account. Facebook is going to know exactly the type of person to place a lead, and your lead cost is going to be much lower than if you were to go to a brand new account, run the exact same ads. Your ads will be a higher cost per lead because they don't know who they're trying to find yet. And if you're working with an agency and you don't have access to that, then what are you going to do? You don't have access to your data that you've been purchasing through Facebook. And Facebook is such a powerful tool to find people who want your service. And if you don't have access to the stuff that you've been doing for a year, for example, when you decide to move agencies, then it's going to be a much less ideal situation than if you owned the account, the agency was working in the account that you owned, and you could utilize that data in however which way you wanted to use it going forward. So that would just be a cautionary tale. If you are working with an agency right now and you don't have access to an account, that is something that I would be asking for straight away, emailing them straight away and saying, hey, can you just give me access to the ad account? It might not be your general business practice, but for my own peace of mind, I would like to see sort of where our data is coming from. Even if you're getting good results, it's still good to have all of that access, so that if, God forbid, something happens, you have everything there.
Absolutely. And at Liberty Digital, we live up to our name. All of our clients have access to their accounts, like it's theirs, and if they want to leave for whatever reason, they can leave at any time, and their account is their account, and they can take that. It's I don't see any benefit or need in owning that sort of stuff, and I hate it when we see it regularly in the game, right? Like where agencies control domains and accounts and different things, and it's just unnecessary. So, but if you're a business owner, that's the thing. Make sure you own everything. You've got all the passwords, all the numbers. That's absolutely essential.
Right.
Looking at this, what we've got a screenshot, like the one we've got here is after a few days, we got it down to what's it, 64.38.
So this is the exact ad account that the previous agency was working in for this client. As you can see, we're looking at the 1st of August to the 31st of August 2024. We saw a very, very, very high lead cost of $113.50. Like we mentioned, this is the sign that the account has been pretty much neglected. As we saw previously in July, it was 119, and throughout August, it was 113. So there's nothing really being done to effectively bring that cost per lead down for this client. And that kind of attention to detail is very tough. Like, just for example, they spent $227 to get 2 leads. Down here, it's a little bit different. However, these leads here are for completely different services with lower ticket
Sure.
items. And so they were doing things there. However, this is what we were brought on to bring down to under 70. And so as we utilize this account to slowly bring the account to our new Liberty Digital owned and Speaking Finance owned account, we slowly brought this down. So if we look towards October, they were spending nothing in the account. While if we go to the new account, now this is the 1st of December to the 10th of Jan. As we created content, it took us a little while to get going, but what that does is the content allows us to create high quality videos that allow customers to learn more about the brand, connect with the people behind the brand, and also use the ads to educate potential customers as well. And so we spent a bit of time curating, copywriting, scripting content for our client, which they then filmed themselves, and then we edited in-house as well. What we've done here is build out 2 very, very simple campaigns. Now, as you can see, the time period, this is the new account, and we're looking at the 1st of December 2024 to today's date, which is the 10th of Jan. So in that time period, we've received 24 leads for an average lead cost of $23.40. So that is a significant decrease from $119 in July to $23 in December, January, for an extended period of time as well. We saw leads as low as $9.50, which you can see in the case study document that Adam will have available as well. What this essentially means that for so much less cost, you can receive so many more leads at a much lower rate than what even we were expecting. This has by far exceeded our expectations. And you don't have to spend too much. This is a $5 campaign to build our top of funnel data. And then the $20 is used to convert that top of funnel data into leads, which the customer can then contact, sell into their program, or sell into the finance in this situation.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this was an extraordinary case, which is it's so great to see for Steve from Speaking Finance, and simultaneously we're working on the website, which is about to launch. So that will, I mean, some of these people are going from Facebook to the website, and the current site is very, very much lacking. So the new site has a lot more life, and that should hopefully improve conversions. The other factor too is the content itself. So we're working with the client together to improve. So we I mean, one thing which you've already mentioned is shifting from images to video, but going forward in the next month, we should have high quality videos with better wording, more specific content, better quality lighting, body language in the ways communicating. I've been coaching Steve on how to communicate on video. So we've been chatting about those things. So then that should improve lead quality with the reduced costs as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And there's multiple factors as to why this lead cost is so much lower than the other campaign. I think it's worthwhile that we speak about that because from going from $119 down to $23 over a month and a half almost, probably requires a bit of explanation, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that the content that we're using is so much more educational, valuable for the potential
Mm.
customers of Speaking Finance, and then also has a very clear call to action. So what we were seeing in the previous account was static images, very similar to what you would see in pretty much every single other person's ad account. One singular image with a bunch of text, potentially some sort of offer, whether it's a free quote or speak to the team in the next 24 hours, whatever it may be. In this case, we wanted to use content that is helpful straight away. We spoke about things like how to check your credit score, what your credit score means when applying for finance, all these kinds of things that are very much tailored to what Speaking Finance is offering, while also bringing in a very clear call to action at the end. So swipe up, fill in the lead form, and our team will get back to you with a finance quote in the next 24 hours is a very, very clear and easy call to action that we added to the video content, and it allows us so much more time with the customer before they start to place a lead. Now, if you were to see a static image on Facebook, you would have no idea where it's from unless you recognize the person's face from, say, TV or radio or their own Facebook page, something like that. While in this case, you can form a relationship with potential customers much earlier in the funnel of bringing people in, which allows us the ability to target more people, to get higher quality traffic through, and also people who actually fully understand your offer, what you're offering, and how it helps them in the long run compared to, say, a competitor. All these things combined, mixed with more modern strategies in the actual ads themselves. We saw in the previous account that they were using a lot of heavy interest targeting, bringing the audience as niche as possible. That is something I do not recommend anymore. We went very broad, but utilized the wording in the content to find who we wanted to target. So in this case, for example, it was equipment finance. So all of these sorts of things that we are speaking about within the content, that is how we're targeting our people. So all of those things combined, so ad structure, ad strategy, and content strategy, all combine to create quality content and quality leads through this ad here, as you can see by the lead price. It's not necessarily too low that it's scary, but it's much lower than sort of what they were seeing in the other account and also what they see from their aggregator, which is that $70 mark.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Such a great outcome for Steve at Speaking Finance. It really frustrates me when I see like great businessmen who are really doing well in what they do and they're not getting the attention they deserve with their advertising and marketing. Is anyone else out there that if you think that you might, or you know that you're in this same situation where your account's been neglected and you want to see if you can get better results, or maybe you're just suspicious that it's not running well, get in touch with us and we'd be more than happy to see if we can assist you and try and get the same sort of results for your business.